So it started my day 2 at COP, and early in the second week of the negotiations here in Katowice, and already there's been some controversy. So in the room behind me, that is this room over here, we have just heard from the chair of the IPCC detailing the report that came out earlier this year, which explained just how serious global warming would be if we don't manage to limit it to 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees is not impossible, but the window for doing this is now. Now it's up to governments to take the necessary action. Thank you very much for your attention.
So this report came out earlier this year, but what we've seen here is quite an unexpected response to it. So this report was written in the first place because at the Paris Agreement in 2015, the world agreed that we should probably try and limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now the problem with that was that scientists at the time didn't really know what a world which was only 1.5 degrees warmer than pre-industrial temperatures would really look like. There really wasn't much research on that topic. And so the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, set out to put together this report. So this report was really kind of depressing because it showed that even though the world would gain a huge amount by limiting warming to just 1.5 degrees, we would massively cut extreme weather events, we would stop the world's corals being virtually eliminated. It also showed that it would be incredibly hard to limit the world's warming to 1.5 degrees. So here at COP24, they had to react to this report that they themselves asked for a few years ago. So what do? They welcome it, right? Well, no, they haven't. And that is the really quite shocking thing. The sentence which was going to welcome the report was blocked by 4 countries: the United States, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. So what I want to know is how it feels to be a scientist who worked on this report and have it unwelcomed by the international community.
Hi, I'm Yuri Rogel. I'm one of the coordinating lead authors on the 1.5 degree special report of the IPCC. In a way, it's good to see the report being discussed here, and somehow it's quite good to see that it is a hot potato that has implications.
So it doesn't feel at all like a rejection of your work?
As a concerned citizen, I would like to see the report welcomed and used within the negotiations. Today the Earth has already warmed by 1 degree because of our past emissions. Now that means there is half a degree to go until we hit 1.5. In roughly 30 years, we need to reduce emissions from today's levels of 42 billion tons of carbon dioxide that we put into the atmosphere every year to 0, and that's a huge challenge.
So other scientists as well have also reacted to the 1.5 degree report not being welcomed. But it's not just scientists reacting, because this 1.5 degree temperature rise limit is incredibly important to certain countries.
For the Pacific region, it means our survival. So anything above 1.5 it's not going to guarantee our survival. And so for a few countries to block and to not welcome the 1.5 report is frankly quite absurd. I don't know how that can be rationalized when the science is clear and unequivocal.
Now, one of the countries to block the welcoming of the 1.5 degree report was America. But that's the action of the American government. A lot of America is still behind climate action.
This action by the U.S. federal government makes it even more important that we have this coalition called We Are Still In, which represents over half of the U.S. population standing up and saying we are still in the Paris Agreement, regardless of what the federal government says in these talks or does at home.
But look, welcome or not, 1.5 degrees is still the ambitious target behind the Paris Climate Agreement, an agreement which pretty much the whole world has signed up to. Now, the question for COP24 here in Katowice is, what are the rules of the agreement? And that's something I'm going to be discussing in an upcoming video.